Hi guys, good afternoon and welcome back once again to the EdWord. I'm your host Eddie, and in today's video I'll be discussing what I thought of the latest and great episode of Invincible, which dropped a few days ago on Amazon Prime. I finally had a chance to watch it and catch up and really enjoyed it, as I hope all of you did as well. So before we get into all of that, please be warned, this is a spoiler-filled review. So if you're not caught up on Invincible by the latest episode, which is the episode 4 of season 2, it's dropped earlier this week on Thursday night / Friday morning. You don't want to keep watching and listening to this video, as I will be discussing spoilers, plot details, character stuff, all that jazz. That being said, you have been warned. Let's dive right back into it. First and foremost, great to have J.K. Simmons truly back as Omni-Man. Granted, he appeared at the end of the last week's episode, but only had one line to spew out. And now he's back in his full Omni-Man glory. And we got to see what's been going on with him. So I like how they picked up right where season 1 ended, where it showed him leaving Earth and just seemingly just leaving. Sitting at the edge of a black hole. And then rather uncharacteristically, instead of allowing himself to be sucked into a black hole, he stops himself and he sees a ship in trouble. And it turns out to be the race of people that eventually reach out to Mark about their asteroid problem. And I expected Omni-Man to kill their leadership and take over this planet by force, but they actually revere him as a god for saving their people, and he peacefully takes power on this planet. But he knows that he puts it at risk by, being in a relationship with a female of the species and producing a son, because the Viltrumites consider themselves far superior above everybody, especially a race of insectoids. So they will not take kindly to his fathering a child that's half Viltrumite, half... What's their species called? Well, we'll just call them insectoids for now. Overall, lovely people. Very friendly. It's just a shame what happens to them when the Viltrumites do attack. And of course, understandably, it's an emotionally charged moment between father and son, especially for Mark. He's like, last time I saw you, you considered my mother a pet, and you almost beat the hell out of me. You almost beat me to death. So, and I'm still mad about that, and you just up and left. So, what the fuck, man? Mark, understandably, had very strong reactions to seeing his father. Although, I gotta give Omni-Man credit for keeping his cool the way he did, when he could have easily lashed out at Mark. And he could have been like, hey, listen, punk, I did all this for you, or this was all for your own good. But instead, he didn't fight him on anything. And it's tough to say, I don't think Omni-Man feels bad about killing the Guardians of the Globe, but I do think he feels bad about nearly killing his own son. Does he feel bad about the damage he laid down to Chicago? I don't know. All the people who died? Probably not. But the one thing he does seem to feel bad about was that he almost killed his own son. It's probably why he almost allowed himself to be sucked into a black hole before saving that alien ship and then finding a new life for himself. And again, of course, it's understandable why Mark would think he's replaced his mom and his son with a new family. But it turns out there's a bigger threat out there than Omni-Man. I mean, Omni-Man is a big threat, but the entire Viltrumite empire, an entire race of people who are exactly like him in terms of strength, powers, and power of flight and whatnot, they are extremely dangerous and will eradicate anyone they deem inferior to them. And so now that they've taken Omni-Man into custody, seemingly, Mark has been tasked by them, unwillingly of course, to reconquer the Earth like Omni-Man was supposed to and get it ready for colonization. Of course, Mark probably isn't going to do that, but that'll unfortunately end up costing lives. But it'll be interesting to see what comes of that. And we got some other interesting story developments. We saw Donald seeing the footage of himself dying by Omni-Man's hand, and then him confirming that he's human after all by stabbing himself in the hand and allowing himself to bleed. So I was like, damn, man. Debbie had a great storyline in this episode. It's nice to see, well, not nice to see because she's a nice lady and it's unfortunate to see her suffer like this, but it's nice to see they're giving her character not justice, but they're really allowing her to feel that pain, that hurt that her husband caused her and so many others. And it's nice that she has a much bigger role this season than she did last season, because she's got her pain to share as well. Mark wasn't the only victim of Omni-Man. She was as much a victim as Mark or anybody else was. So it's nice to see that her story is ongoing, and we get to see how things are going on her side of things. And with Eve, I guess she's struggling to be a hero while protecting and saving lives and not inadvertently putting them in danger, like she kind of did with the couple in the car, I guess. Sad. Oh, and then the Mahler twins, of course, those guys seem unstoppable. Well, the clone seemingly has killed the original. So now the clone has become the original and apparently can clone himself even more than just once. So it sounds like we'll get a whole bunch of Mahler twins sooner than later. So who knows what's going to happen there. But I like how the heart of this story, of this particular episode, was around Mark and his dad, and them seemingly working together. And instead of conquering a planet, Omni-Man didn't want to seem it seems like he didn't want his own people to conquer this world, because he knew these people would pay for his actions, and he didn't want to see them die, let alone his new wife and newborn son. So it was interesting to see Omni-Man fight for a planet rather than fight the people protecting that planet. And it was also interesting to see how he seemingly does lash out at Mark, but for a completely unrelated reason, which was like, how come I feel the way I do? Why do I care about what happens to these people? Why do I care about what happens to them? And Mark's like, well, this is how you should have felt back on Earth, and then kind of hits Omni-Man like, he gets hit with that realization. Oh, is this how I was supposed to react? Is this how I was supposed to feel back on Earth? But then the Vulturemites came and took him into custody. So we'll see what happens with that. And now they seemingly have left Mark to recover from his injuries and then return to Earth as their agent. But Mark ain't down for that. So it'll be interesting to see how this unfolds in the second half of the season, which unfortunately we don't have a return date as of yet, but I'm sure we will soon, and hopefully it'll be in the first half of 2024. But in the meantime, I've enjoyed these first 4 episodes we've gotten from Season 2. It's been very entertaining and quite exciting and satisfying. And the fights in this episode were violent and gnarly as hell, and I loved it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode as much as I did. What did you think of it? I'd love to hear your thoughts and feelings on it. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Invincible Season 2 returns at some point in 2024. An exact return date is TBD. Have an awesome rest of your weekend, everyone. Thanks for watching. And of course, until next time, may the Force be with you.